How's it going, everyone? Coming off the heels of Summer Game Fest, we have a ton of previews going live for Digimon Story Time Stranger, and as down as I was about the game being capped at 30 frames per second on consoles, look, at the end of the day, for hardcore Digimon fans like myself, it's not gonna be the end of the world. I just think from an optics standpoint, capping a game to 30 FPS, that, let's be honest, this isn't the most blow-away game from a visual standpoint. I love the art style, and I think it totally works for a Digimon game, but it would have been nice to be at 60 FPS is all I'm saying. However, this game, in terms of what Digimon fans and Digimon Story fans, in terms of if you played Cyber Sleuth and Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory, it's a significant step up, and one of the reasons for that is that this game has been in the works for a very long time, going back 7-8 years, fueled by the madness of its passionate dev team. We'll talk about that at the end of this video, but in terms of the depth and the gravitas of this game, it is going to be something that Digimon fans are really going to be able to sink their teeth into. An RPG site, I'll leave a link in the description box below, has a great interview with Ryosuke Hara, producer of Digimon Story Time Stranger, and he gives a lot of insight as far as the development of this game. I want to go over some of the specific quotes and also some of the other aspects of the game. Asked about the massive step up of Time Stranger, he noted, "We as a company believe that Digimon is full of potential. We definitely want to continue working on these Digimon games, and we've been working on this since Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory came out." So if you do the math, it's been a long time. Yes, that is 7-8 years ago. Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory came out in like 2017, and we had been told that there was a Digimon Story title in development, and then you saw the announcements of games such as Digimon Survive, and honestly, there were a lot of question marks as far as what the development of this game, what was going on with it, but thankfully, how it's coming together now in 2025 looks to be incredible. Now, hopefully, after the success of this game, we'll get Digimon Story titles a little bit more consistently, because I get that 5 years in between games seems to be the standard in gaming. 7 to 8 years is a little bit of a stretch for me as far as waiting that long for Digimon games, but that's just my 2 cents. Now, he did note, ideally, we could have released it earlier. We apologize for Time Stranger coming out so late. That being said, we were able to spend a lot of time on it, and the world setting in the game ended up being very robust. We definitely spent a lot of time and effort on it. That part of the game will be very enjoyable for our fans. It seems like one of the big aspects to this game was to create a level of depth that wasn't available in Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory, because while Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory had a sizable amount of content in terms of a lot to do, in terms of the depth and nuance of the game and everything being fleshed out, that's one area where Time Stranger seems to have a gigantic step up from the previous Digimon Story titles. RPG site also has Time Stranger depicts the digital world as an explorable zone with lots of different locales such as a beach environment, an earlier promotional material for the title along with other biomes. What are some of the inspirations in designing the different environments? Hara noted, for Digimon Story Time Stranger, we wanted to really center the story on the Olympus 12 Digimon. There are the guardians of the digital world, and we really wanted to show off the different environments inside the world by allowing players to explore it. And remember, the digital world and exploration of that, there's been a lot of care put into that, but also the real life world, there's a lot of exploration options, so there's gonna be a lot for you to sink into in terms of exploration, and it's not gonna be like a vast open world or anything like that, but you'll have these different open zones that'll be distinct from a visual sense and a presentation sense that I think will offer a lot. Now, as far as the main characters, Hara noted, as you probably know, the overarching theme of all Digimon focuses on the bond between humans and Digimon. When we were creating Time Stranger, we really wanted to highlight that theme. We thought the best way to do that was to make the main characters an agent of this secret organization. As you can probably guess, time is also a very important aspect of this game. That's another thing we implemented to further highlight the bond between humans and Digimon. For Digimon Story, we definitely focus on exploration, battle, and training. We feel that it has a good mainstream appeal compared to something like the Digimon World games, which primarily focus on the training aspect of Digimon, which I totally agree with. Think what you want about Digimon Story Time Stranger, and obviously the hardcore fans are going to be super invested into it. The fact that there's a lot of elements like English voice acting on the game and the general expansion of the game, this is obviously a game that seemed to expand the appeal of Digimon games more so than a Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory. This is going to be a substantial undertaking, but also one that is hopefully going to draw in a newer audience. He continued by noting, "We have to be careful with how we say this, but we feel that the audience for the Digimon World games, for instance, can be a little bit more limited than something that is more mainstream targeted." Again, that is definitely true. I like the Digimon World games, but this is a game that is trying to expand the appeal of Digimon games, and obviously, if you're a longtime fan, you're going to be signed up to this no problem, and the fact that there's English voice acting probably isn't the biggest deal in the world to you in particular. However, to somebody that's on the fence, especially with a billion games coming out in the fall, it's going to be a big deal as far as a lot of the elements that they went for as far as catering to a newer audience. He continued, "I think that mainstream appeal is one of the Digimon Story series' strengths relative to other Digimon titles. Of course, this doesn't mean anything of the other Digimon series and the titles are bad or anything like that. And while mainstream appeal, certainly Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory, a general JRPG fan could get into it. I think with Time Stranger, it's exponentially more so to that, and that's why I'm not even that against the $70 price tag. If the $70 price tag is what we needed for a more expansive game with English voice acting, by all means, go for that." Also, as far as the game's length, Hara noted, "If you were to focus just on the main story, then it'd be around 40 hours. If you wanted to complete all the subquests and properly train your Digimon, probably add another 10 hours to that. Now, if you were trying to 100% the game, as in collecting and raising all of the different Digimon and getting everything in Time Stranger, we don't even know how long that'll take." And that wrapped up the interview with RPG Site. A lot of great insight there. Again, link to them, and they do great work over there. The game, as far as 40 hours go, that's not even the most substantially lengthy JRPG in the world, but if they focus on the level of depth and the quality content there as far as a 40-hour main story run, and again, it'll be exponentially longer if you decide to take your time and do everything, but 40 hours for the core main story, that might even sound a little bit short, but again, if they have the depth and if they make it all killer and less filler, which I did think was an issue with the Digimon story titles in Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory, I think that works out much more. And again, if you're talking about catering to a brand new audience, having that all killer, less filler approach works a lot better, and then you can have the optional side content if you want to add more depth and nuance that way as well. You know, it's been a long time coming for a brand new Digimon story title. At the very least, we're finally getting it all these years later, and hopefully this will lay the foundation for future Digimon story games and what they can do in the future. Now, I'm not saying this is going to be a franchise that's going to turn into every year we get a brand new game, but if we can get a new game every 4 years, 5 years even, I think that would be a good cadence of new Digimon story titles, and I think there's an audience for this. I think there's an appetite for Digimon games. I'm not saying Digimon's gonna be as big as Pokemon and those titles, but I think there's an appetite for a high-quality monster collecting game like this outside of Nintendo platforms, although I do view that this is eventually going to be released on the Switch too as well. And I should note that if you're looking to pick up the game at a little bit of a discount on PC, you can go to our friends over at Green Man Gaming. For XP members, they've got the game discounted 10% off for $63. I'll leave a link to that in the description box below. They have the various editions, Deluxe Edition, Ultimate Edition discounted as well. You don't pay tax either, you get a Steam code, and you will be good to go on that. But this has shot up to be one of my most anticipated games for the rest of the year. When it was announced back at the State of Play earlier this year, really, that made the State of Play for me as a lifelong Digimon fan. A game of this caliber, a top-level JRPG, and a game that is trying to draw in a newer audience as well. That's what I want Digimon to ultimately do. I think there's an incredible IP here, and as somebody that was always more of a Digimon guy over a Pokemon guy, I feel like the IP did not get enough love, and I think there's so much potential in generating a lot of interest and getting people's attention into it. I just hope the game's received well critically, commercially, and then, you know, we can build upon that with future Digimon entries going forward. I don't know the likelihood of something like a Survive 2. I don't know how big of a appetite there is for that game, although I did really like it, but Digimon Story, I feel like, can generate a lot of interest and have consistent output. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. As always, sound off down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.